Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football postgame show and NFL Saturday special. An early late game postgame show and uh, Saturday night game update. And we'll get to all that. We're going to tell you about all three games that have been going on, the early and the late one, and one that's going on right now. And first, here is today's Scott Sports 101. NFL Saturday special, Week 17 trivia question. It's a Bengals one. Who scored the Bengals' only touchdown in Super Bowl 23? I'll have the answer later in the podcast. Well, the holiday weekend of football continues. It's Week 17 of the NFL regular season. We have three games going on today and a full day of football tomorrow. In the early game today, the Los Angeles Chargers walloped the New England Patriots 40-7 today at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. And with the win, over the Patriots, the Chargers have clinched a playoff berth after throwing 281 yards and three touchdowns. LA Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert broke Peyton Manning's NFL record for the most passing yards in the win over the Patriots, a record that stood for over 20 years. Excuse me. In more history, Justin Herbert now has 20 or more passing touchdowns and 3,000 or more passing yards in each of his first five seasons. Only two other quarterbacks in NFL history started their careers reaching those same milestones, Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson. The Chargers' pass protection, which has been an issue throughout the regular season, was spectacular today for Herbert and the skill players. Justin Herbert, when kept clean versus the Patriots, had 80% adjusted completion, 247 yards, three passing touchdowns, and zero interceptions. If the offensive line can't hold this form, Herbert has proven time and time again what he is capable of. So he will get to do that again, and that will have to hold during the playoffs for the Chargers. And boy, just what a game! They were just dominant throughout this whole game. They held the Patriots to just one touchdown. The Patriots struggled both offensively and defensively in this game today. And in the late game, in overtime today, uh, and it was uh, time near the end, near the very this time near the very end of a mostly agonizing season. The Bengals made enough plays to win. A familiar connection closed it out. Joe Burrow threw his third touchdown pass to T. Higgins with a minute 7 left in overtime, and the Bengals kept their slim playoff hopes alive with a wild 30-24 win over the Denver Broncos today. This is one of the crazy ones I've been involved with in the NFL. Burrow said it feels like we had a couple of those this year, and it's nice to come out on top in one. After Denver's second punt in overtime, Burrow completed a 31-yard pass to Higgins to a Denver 3, and then went back to the lanky receiver for the final play in Cincinnati's fourth consecutive victory. Higgins finished with 11 receptions and 131 yards. Cade York had a chance to win it for Cincinnati with about 3 minutes left in overtime, but his 33-yard field goal bounced off the left upright. But then Denver went 3 and out, including a Bo Nix incompletion on third down, handing the ball right back to Burrow and the Bengals, who now are 8-8. Tough one to lose, Denver coach Sean Payton said. We had our opportunities. The will to complete an answer, it was pretty impressive. In the end, we didn't make enough plays, and they did. And it was the Bengals' first win this season against a team with a winning record. They need another victory in their final game at Pittsburgh and some help from other teams to make it to the postseason for the first time since 2022. We know we can hang with anybody, Burrow said. We've proven that this year. We played everybody this year close. It's just about making the plays down the stretch to win those games. Today we did. The last 4 weeks, we have. We've got to continue to do it. The Broncos, who fall to 9-7, would have secured an AFC wild card with a victory over the Bengals. They'll have another opportunity to earn a postseason berth when they host Kansas City next weekend. A victory over the Chiefs or it also would eliminate the Bengals. Burrow continued a stellar season, going 39 of 49 for 412 yards and 3 touchdowns, all to Higgins. Jamar Chase finished with 9 receptions for 102 yards. Burrow has at least 250 yards passing and 3 touchdowns in 8 straight games, extending his NFL record. I don't know that anybody can stand on the field and watch Joe Burrow and say he's not the best player in the world, Bengals coach Zach Taylor said. Burrow's 1-yard touchdown run gave Cincinnati a 24-7 lead with 1:29 left in regulation. On the play before Burrow's TD to Chase Brown hurt his right ankle on an awkward slide while going down in an effort to help the Bengals run out the remaining time. Brown's injury stopped the clock, and Nix threw a spectacular 25-yard touchdown pass to a leaping Marvin Mims Jr. for the tying score with 8 seconds left. Nix was 24 of 31 for 219 yards, and 3 touchdowns with 1 interception. Mims finished with 8 catches for 103 yards and 2 TDs. Burrow made full use of his 2 featured receivers. Burrow and Higgins and Chase made life difficult for the Broncos all game long. I just throw where the defense tells me to, Burrow said. If they're going to double Jamar, I'm going to throw it to T. If Jamar is going to get one-on-one, I'm going to throw it to him. Both receivers are in interesting contact situations. Chase was the NFL leader in receptions, yards, and receiving, and receiving touchdowns going into Week 17. He is likely headed for a massive new contract that will make him one of the highest-paid receivers in the league. Higgins is playing under the franchise tag, and the Bengals may not want to pay what it will take to bring him back next season. Broncos quarterback Amari Mathis left in the first quarter with a hamstring injury. Broncos right tackle Amarius Mims left late in the first half with a hand injury. The Broncos finish the regular season at home next week against the AFC West champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. The day and time for the game have yet to be announced, and the Bengals will be at Pittsburgh at a date and time still to be determined. The Bengals lost to the Steelers 44-38 on December 1st. So we'll see what happens with those games next week. And right now, I got to give the game balls to the Cincinnati Bengals. I got to give the game balls to them. And Joe Burrow, 39 of 49 carries and attempts, 412 yards, 3 touchdowns. P. Higgins, 11 receptions, 131 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Chase Brown, 20 attempts, 67 yards. The Bengals go to 8-8. The Broncos fall to 9-7. Well, we'll get to tonight's game in just a moment, and we'll talk about the football games for tomorrow. But for right now, it's time to reveal the answer to today's Scout Sports 101 NFL Saturday special Week 17 trivia question, which is a Bengals trivia question. Who scored the Bengals' only touchdown in Super Bowl 23? And if you said Stanford Jennings, you are correct. Stanford Jennings, Cincinnati's only touchdown, 93-yard kickoff return by Stanford Jennings in the third quarter was quickly answered by a four-play, 85-yard drive that ended with San Francisco's wide receiver Jerry Rice's 14-yard touchdown reception. And I will have another trivia question on my next podcast, which is tomorrow on my early games pregame show. So stay tuned for that. Right now, it's in the fourth quarter, and late in the fourth quarter, 13-9, with Rams with 2:58 left to go in the fourth quarter. And it's the 34th, the Rams 17, and the Rams have the ball. And this has been a low-scoring game between these two teams, and the Rams are trying to keep their playoff hopes alive at 9-6, and the Arizona Cardinals, they've been eliminated from playoff contention. And right now they have been held. It's either a touchdown or a field goal or 3 field goals they've been held to. And but right now 13-9 Rams with 2:13 left to go in the fourth quarter, and we have a full day of action tomorrow. Beginning with the early games at the 1 o'clock games. The Indianapolis Colts are at MetLife Stadium in New York to take on the Giants. The Jets are at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Tennessee Titans are at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. The Raiders are at Caesar Superdome in New Orleans to take on the New Orleans Saints. The Carolina Panthers are at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay to take on Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. The Dallas Cowboys are at Lincoln Financial Field in Philly to take on the Eagles. And in the late games, there's 2 of them. The late afternoon games, the Miami Dolphins are here in Cleveland to take on the Browns. And the Green Bay Packers are at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Sunday Night Football. The Atlanta Falcons are at Northwest Stadium in Maryland to take on the Washington Commanders. And Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions are in San Francisco at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California to take on the 49ers. And the Thursday Night Football, I forgot to remind you of that one. The Seattle Seahawks, and one of the lowest score games this season, beat the Chicago Bears 6-3, and that was a game of field goals. And so I give the game balls to Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. So, well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 NFL Thursday Night Football post-game show and the NFL Saturday special early games post-game show and the Saturday night game update show. I'll be back with my early game pregame show, and I'll let you know who won between the Rams and the Cardinals tomorrow. And I'll let you know. And with my early games pregame show, and but until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.